South Africa's Deputy Finance Minister defends B-BBEE amid opposition by Satori News. In a significant affirmation of South Africa's commitment to economic transformation, Deputy Finance Minister David Masondo has provided solid assurance to Parliament that broad-based Black economic empowerment, B-BBEE, is entrenched in the country's future policy framework. This firm stance comes amidst swirling uncertainty voiced by alliance partners of the African National Congress, ANC, prompted by suggestions from certain Government of National Unity GNU members that the policy might be facing the axe. Addressing Parliament during the prelude to the National Budget Declaration, Masondo delineated B-BBEE as an integral building block for the nation's projected economic ascension. He stressed the fundamental role of B-BBEE in sculpting an inclusive economy, one that is a prerequisite for sustainable growth. While acknowledging the burgeoning public debt, Masondo expressed agreement on the pressing need for better allocation of the considerable R3 billion spent on servicing these liabilities. Expensive bailouts for failing state-owned enterprises, SOEs, and a pattern of consumption-driven borrowing were highlighted as detrimental fiscal activities that the country should be moving away from. Instead, Masondo champions a more judicious approach toward borrowing, underscoring investments that yield tangible economic benefits. Amid criticism from various quarters, including strong contentions from the Freedom Front Plus party, Masondo articulated a defense of B-BBEE. He dismissed the notion that empowerment equates to economic stagnation, asserting instead that inclusiveness is a necessary bedrock for growth, which stands as a central tenet of the GNU's vision for South Africa. The deputy minister also touched on the broader considerations surrounding economic policy, such as managing price inflation to alleviate the escalating cost of living, and bolstering the export market to reinforce fiscal robustness. Amid a heated debate, critics of B-BBEE have labeled the legislation as inherently discriminatory, based on the argument that it prioritizes race over qualification in employment and organizational leadership. Opponents argue that this approach sacrifices service delivery and meritocracy on the altar of racial redress. Furthermore, they contend that the focus on race, particularly the implications for white South Africans born post-apartheid, perpetuates a new form of injustice. The deputy finance minister's remarks set a decisive tone for the ongoing discourse surrounding B-BBEE, framing it as a necessary pursuit for an inclusive South African society, one that transcends the historical divisions entrenched by apartheid. He emphasizes that the quest for equity must proceed without compromising the nation's developmental goals or the imperative of placing the most qualified individuals in key roles. In sum, David Masondo's parliamentary address was a resounding endorsement of B-BBEE as a policy cornerstone for South Africa's future, drawing a balance between the imperatives of social justice and economic prosperity. Thank you for choosing Satori News.